Hello, everyone. I am Lisa Waddell, and I am in my torn up kitchen. That is, we're in the middle of doing a kitchen redo, so that's going to be really fun for this video. But anyway, I am making, tonight, I am making fudge. And the evidence-based practice that I am tying my fudge recipe to is, of all things, exercise. It's kind of contradictory, and I'll get to that in a little while. So anyway, I have, because it's kind of a long process, I already started cooking, and in my pot that's boiling now, I have, ooh, it's hot. I have marshmallows and evaporated milk and sugar. And so it's boiling now for 6 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and mix it in with the remainder of the ingredients. So while this is cooking and boiling, I'm going to stir, and I'm going to share a PowerPoint about exercise and why it is an effective evidence-based practice that can be used with students with autism and other disabilities as well. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see, here we go. So, oh, I'm at the end. Sorry, let me start again. Slideshow, there we go. All right, so exercise as an evidence-based practice for autism spectrum disorder. So why exercise? And so it is recommended that children get at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity on a daily basis. And I just noticed I said why instead of how much. Sorry about that. But recent research shows that children actually receive much less physical activity than the recommended time. And for children that have disabilities like autism, spectrum disorder, or Down syndrome, other disabilities like that, they receive actually significantly less physical activities than their same age peers. So, so there are definite benefits for having students get up and move, and building that into your classroom day when possible, because it's not something that kids are getting on their own. So how has exercise been proven to help? So exercise, especially at a moderate to vigorous rate, it shows that there is when there's an increase in physical exertion, it helps to reduce problem behaviors, and it also helps to increase appropriate behaviors. And I honestly had never thought about this very much, but in reality, it's actually very true. My youngest daughter has Down syndrome and autism, and we do struggle with behaviors with her. And I will say that the days, especially during the summertime, the days that we spend a couple hours at the swimming pool and things like that, where she can get her energy out and get some exercise, that definitely, those days, our nights go much more smoothly. Because she's had that exercise earlier in the day. So what are the benefits of exercise? Not only, obviously, does it promote a healthy lifestyle, but it also helps to decrease health risks for individuals that have autism spectrum disorder. A problem that a lot of them deal with is constipation, and also sleep issues. For other disabilities, like for instance, Down syndrome, on top of all of those things, you also have obesity. So for students that have comorbid diagnoses, this is even more appropriate and important for them, because it helps with some of the other medical issues that are associated with their disability. For students with ASD, it helps to decrease physical stress and bring their anxiety level down. It also helps to increase proprioceptive input Remember, I think we did a module on that not too long ago, that your proprioceptive system is, it has to do with your muscles and your movement and things like that. And so it helps to increase, it gives them that input and helps to regulate the proprioceptive system. So in conjunction or as a result of exercise, teachers and caregivers recognize fewer problem behaviors. There is also a decrease in inattentive behaviors, especially with students that also have maybe ADD or ADHD on top of autism or another disability. So they're more focused and better able to do their work. Finally, there's an increase also in gross motor skills and balance, which is a big plus for, like I said, kids that also have that have comorbid diagnoses. And there's my timer. So I will get back to the I got to get back to my fudge, and I will discuss my I'll discuss my resources here in just a minute. So I have just boiled down my marshmallows and my evaporated milk and my sugar. And I'm getting ready to dump that. It's very, very hot. I've burned myself a few times into a combination of milk chocolate chips and semi-sweet chocolate chips and butter. So tying, let's see if I can do this real quick. So when we, I chose this recipe of all things. My husband's going to be really happy because I normally only make fudge at Christmas time, and obviously it's not Christmas time. So it kind of feels weird to be making fudge in July, but the reason why I chose it and to go along with exercise is twofold. Number one, and I'm going to get here stirring here in just a minute. This recipe is very physical. It takes, you got to stir and stir and stir and stir and stir. You stir to melt the marshmallows. You stir to melt stir down the sugar and get it into its candy consistency. And then here, what I'm doing now, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this very well because it's super hot. But what I've got to do now is I have to, I made a big mess, but I have to use this hot mixture that I just put in my chocolate chips. And I'm going to mix and mix and stir and stir and stir and stir until the chocolate melts and it all mixes together. And so you'll see it takes a lot of stirring to get it all mixed together. I'm gonna my big green bowl here. But anyway, so this, as far as recipes go, I would consider this to be kind of a physical recipe, because you just have to stir and stir and stir and stir. And my arm starts to get a little bit tired after all of this. So I'm getting a little bit of exercise while I'm making my fudge. The other reason why is because this is obviously, fudge is a candy. It's got a lot of sugar, it's got a lot of butter, a lot of sweet stuff. It's really good. That's why I only make it once a year. So if you eat too much of this stuff, you're definitely going to need to go exercise yourself to burn off some of the calories that you pick up in the process of eating this. So I'm stirring and I'm stirring and I'm stirring. I have to change arms here in a minute because I have to use this hot mixture melts down all the chocolate chips. So I have to keep stirring this until it smooths out. But anyway, back to exercise while I'm stirring and stirring and stirring. I did want to share a few of the resources that I found information from. And Obviously, I found the list of evidence-based practices from the IRIS model that module that we did. And in looking at examples of how to do this sizzle, this teacher sizzle, one of the sizzle videos that I watched was about a website, and it's called EBP sites. And it actually is a very, very interesting website. And I got a lot of information from that as well. And there's a lot of other information about a lot of different evidence-based practices and different activities and things that you can do, and videos and all that good stuff there on that website as well. The other place that I found information, which that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, is from a website called, I'll have to go back and look at it, but it's called resourcefulclassrooms.org. And they have a lot of activities that are centered around evidence-based practices. And so when you're talking about exercise in a school setting, obviously for younger students, they have built-in recess and that sort of thing throughout their day. Well, I teach middle school, and we don't even have a playground. And that's my kids that come in, especially my rising sixth graders, struggle with that so much because they've had that in their schedules from kindergarten through fifth grade, and then all of a sudden it's not there for them anymore. And so for kids that need that physical activity, that to be able to focus, that need that proprioceptive input, it's my job to figure out ways to do that. And because we don't have a playground, obviously we can't go swing, we can't go do those kinds of things like you normally would do on a playground, but we take walks on the track. We also build in movement breaks into our day. So that might be walking some laps around the school. It could be, we do lots of dance offs. So we'll pull up a Just Dance video and dance. When we practice our counting, sometimes I'll have the kids work on doing jumping jacks as they're counting, especially when we get closer to 100. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, but it really, really does help to refocus and to it breaks up the tasks, it breaks up the classroom activities, and then provides a little bit of time to just refocus help their brains to refocus. It also, another benefit that I didn't put on the PowerPoint was that these physical breaks and exercise also bring opportunities for socialization, especially if we're playing catch, or if we are doing like Simon Says, or doing something like that. So there's an interactive element to that as well that is helpful for students with autism to kind of be brought into a social circle that they might not normally choose to be a part of. So those were some of the benefits and some of the ways that I have actually used exercise. And I never really thought of it as exercise, but more like movement breaks into my class as I teach. So it looks like finally I'm just about finished stirring my fudge, and my arm is very tired. But the last thing that I need to do before I put it in the pans is this step I always forget, but I need to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This recipe is so good. I got this recipe from family friends that live in Oklahoma, years and years and years ago. And like I said, this is what my contribution to the Christmas treats always are. My family looks forward to it. They were bummed that they didn't get it this last Christmas, but I was busy doing schoolwork. So, so I did not get a chance to do my fudge. So I'm doing it now. So anyway, I'm stirring in my last little bit of vanilla here. And then this mixture is going to go into 3 8x8 pans that I buttered the bottom of 3 8x8 pans. And then, so if it was wintertime, I could just put this out in the garage, and because I'm in Missouri, so it gets plenty cold, and I could just put this out in the garage on a shelf and it would cool just fine and set and harden. Because it's July, this is going to have to go in the fridge. But that is how I make my fudge. It goes here in these pans. Now, my family just likes it plain Jane. When you're making fudge, you can do add different things to it. This recipe can also be made as like a rocky road. So I would freeze some of my marshmallows versus boiling them down. But my family doesn't like nuts, and they're not fond of the rocky road either. They just like plain old fudge. So it goes in the different pans. And I know you can't see, I can only move my computer so far, but I'll show you a little bit of what it looks like. So here it is. Woo! See, it's still really, it's not set yet, so it needs to go in the refrigerator so it can cool. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed my little bit of information on exercise, and I hope you take the opportunity to try and find ways to incorporate exercise into your daily schedule in your classroom with your kids. Thank you.